All right, so this was a idea that came to me the other day after listening to the Mortal Kombat song. You know the one. I don't need to say it. Mortal Kombat! Dun dun dun. Alright, I'll stop. Anyway, so, yeah, this idea kind of came to me, and that is, could Outworld conquer, or rather, could Shao Kahn conquer Warhammer the Old World? So let's say this isn't going to be in the continuity of MK1, obviously. This is Shao Kahn, Emperor of Outworld. You know, this is the height of Shao Kahn's power. And could he actually, you know, and let's say, like, for this scenario, he's got both Shang Tsung and Quan. He's got Shang Tsung with him. He's got Reptile. He's got Noob Saibot. He's got Mortaru. He also has he's got like a lot of like all the other villains and like Kano and all them, and not to mention Baraka. You know, this is still villain Baraka. So we have Tarkatans, we have Shokan, obviously Goro and Kintaro are there. So, and of course all of his warriors and other horrors that Shang Tsung can conjure up. So, Shao Kahn, this isn't going to be like we have to fight in a tournament against Shao Kahn. No, this is like Shao Kahn has declared open war on Warhammer the Old World, and everyone has to bow to him. So what would it be like if Outworld just poured into the Warhammer the Old World? Well, first off, it's just another day in the life, because, you know, another invasion attacking the Empire of Man. Yeah, that's gonna be just meh. That's just another day that ends in Tuesday. They're gonna be asking why there are four-armed ogres, but still. Now, Outworld's invasion is interesting because Shao Kahn is not going to have any Shao Kahn is going to have an impressive force. But here's the thing: all the other some of the armies, it isn't like in Warhammer 40k where it's only going to be banding together at the last minute. Already, if Shao Kahn attack, it depends on where Shao Kahn makes landfall first. If he makes landfall, let's say for the sake of argument that he attacks, the invasion begins in the Empire of Man. The Empire of Man has held its own against, the forces of chaos and all these other enemies. Like their whole, a lot of people make a lot of fun of the Empire of Man, especially like Ulstermark, the people of Reichland and whatnot. But the thing of it is, yeah, the Empire of Man fights enemies on all fronts. These guys are going to be more than capable of holding their own and against an invasion. So they are going to be encountering different kinds of magic, but guess what? They have wizards. They also have gunpowder. And yeah, when the Black Dragons get involved, they're going to be using lasers and shit. But still, faith, gunpowder, and steel, bitches. So, and also, leading the charge is Karl motherfucking Franz. I'm sure he's going to challenge Shao Kahn one-on-one in a fight. Could he win that fight? I don't know. But Shao Kahn's going to get the receiving end of Galamaraz, that's for sure. Now, as for the other factions, and the other thing is, too, the Empire of Man doesn't fight alone. They're going to have, Kislev on their side. They're also going to have the dwarfs and the elves, the high elves, fighting alongside them. Hell, I imagine even the wood elves would probably throw in the fight, too, because Shao Kahn's probably going to be burning the land. Now, what about the other factions? What about Bretonnia? Oh, they suck. I don't care. Bretonnia is going to be like, we don't need you. We don't need, we have the power of the lady on our side and our Grail Knights. And yeah, the Grail Knights are pretty powerful, but at the same time, Shao Kahn's army is pretty big. So Bretonnia, you might want to find some help. But so other factions. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because I do think Shao Kahn could probably convince an alliance with some of the other races. I do genuinely think he could actually spawn alliances with other factions. Those other factions, that one's kind of a tough one to really say, who could really be, throwing in with Shao Kahn. I will say, though, the one that would definitely throw in with them is the Vampire Courts, specifically Manfred von Karstein, because Manfred von Karstein is a cunt. Yeah, Manfred von Karstein would and his vampire armies of Sylvania, they would absolutely throw in with Shao Kahn, if only for Manfred to try to stab, literally and figuratively, stab Shao Kahn in the back. That's like, he's just going to use that as an example. But this is also going to prove valuable, because now he'll have Natara and the vampires of Outworld on their side as well. And also, he's with Manfred on their side, he could teach them like dark magic and necromancy, something that, Shang Tsung already has. But now you have an endless supply of necromancers and an unending army of the dead, which I'm sure Shang Tsung would want to learn from. Though I do imagine Manfred and Shang would probably be more than likely at each other's throats. Yeah. Now, the Tomb Kings are not going to throw in with Shang Tsung. They're not. They're just like, especially Cetra. You think he says Cetra does not serve, he rules for shits and giggles? No. Cetra is going to just go in there and be like, I don't bow to anyone, least of all you. The orcs, yeah, they're not gonna. They're gonna just look at a fight, especially like they're gonna. They are gonna look at the Shokan. The orcs are gonna, especially like Grimgor Ironhide and his Wa. They're gonna look at like the Shokan and be like, "Oh, it's a good crumping right there. Come on, boys." So you have that. Then you have the Skaven would be interesting, because the Skaven, I don't know if they would throw in with them. They did throw in with Chaos during the End Times, but the End Times suck. So, way I see it is that Shao Kahn would Shao Kahn could probably get some of the clans, as to which I don't know. Although I do think Clan Pestilence might throw in with them, but who knows? I'm going to actually say no. I'm going to backtrack on that, because Shao Kahn is different from End Times. With the End Times, the Skaven were basically trying to save their own skin, and also the Great Horn Rat told them to. Here, this invasion's a little different. It's not like with the Chaos Gods and also the Great Horn Rat wanting to get a seat at the table. Here, it's like, he doesn't have anything we want. Fuck him. So Skaven are probably, now that I think about it, the Skaven would probably not throw in with him. The troll, the ogre tribes, he could probably pay them off, and also, if you give them food, they'll also be like, okay, yeah, well, so the ogre tribes would probably join in. The Beastmen of Chaos serve Chaos, so they're out. The Dark Elves would be interesting. I do think some of the Dark Elves would, especially Marathi. Marathi would see all the power that Shao Kahn has at his disposal, and be like, her and her son Malekith. The two of them would probably see the absolute shit wrecking that Shao Kahn is doing across the sea, and namely towards the High Elves, and probably either A, try to attack Ulthuan again for the umpteenth time, and at the same time also throw in with him and probably make a lot of horrible things. So the two real allies I could probably see Shao Kahn getting in the old world are Manfred and Manfred and Marathi would probably be the only two that would actually, aside from the ogre tribes, let me rephrase that, that would willingly throw in with him, just to get what they want. But Multi, I hear you say, what about Chaos? Wouldn't Chaos want Shao Kahn on their side? True. The Chaos Gods would attempt to try to assuage Shao Kahn and try to offer all these promises of power and whatnot. But what's really going to happen is that Shao Kahn is just like, you guys are like an evil you guys are just like the Elder Gods. Fuck y'all. The only person I serve is me. And the Chaos Gods aren't going to like that and be like, hey, Archaon, get him. Now, could some of Norska actually abandon the Chaos Gods and join Outworld? I think that's a possibility, but Archaon is not going to allow that. And also, would he ally with the Empire of Man? Absolutely not. In fact, they're going to be just fighting a three-way war. But I can guarantee you the Chaos Gods would not like the idea of someone throwing in their shit, messing up their shit, and their plans. Except Tzeentch, who would be giggling like a schoolgirl in the corner, like, this is so much fun. But no, I don't think Chaos would not ally itself with Shao Kahn. I have no doubt the Chaos Gods would try to like work with him or try to tempt Shao Kahn and see, like, because he would. I have no doubt that Shao Kahn has a big enough army to like take a good chunk for himself. But again, Shao Kahn is used to fighting one army. Like, that's his whole thing of like beating Edeni and all these other empires, is that, you know, he has all of this territorial front, but he's not. But Shao Kahn isn't used to fighting multiple factions at once. Welcome to the world of Warhammer, bitch. These guys are going to be. You're going to be fighting multiple fronts, and Chaos, like I said, would try to tempt Shao Kahn. But Shao Kahn, like, he's too much of a fucking egotistical asshole to, like, listen to them. And that's when Chaos is going to be like, all right, we're going to kill Empire of Man and everyone else who gets in our way. But, namely, we're going to take out that asshole with the skull face. Go get him. So, yeah. Do I think the Outworld could hold their own in the Old World? Yeah. But Shao Kahn is going to learn very quickly. He's going to be fighting a very long war on multiple fronts against multiple enemies, some of whom will actually band together, like the dwarfs and high elves. And like I said, depending on how much of the woods are burned, maybe even the wood elves would get in on this alliance. And also, like, they'll be already allied with Kislev. So, yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, do you think Outworld could conquer Warhammer the Old World? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.